what do you want to do? You can sit around and say, oh, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to buy my first house. Go do it. And you're not just going to go win the lottery. That's a great strategy. And if it works out for you, call me. I got some lessons, for you. But if not, you got to do it on your own. And we're so fortunate to have groups like the HUI Mastermind that are so open and willing and able to help us and educate us. And even on the side, just even after the program is over and the training is over, it's still good to know that I can text you guys and ask a question and, get the support that I need. Just that little shove. Because sometimes, here's a problem, what would you do? And it's like, have you thought about, oh, okay.
Going through emotions.
Right.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Investing in Hawaii podcast. My name is Sasha Smith, along with
Fuzzy Jardine. Welcome to the show. We're here with one of our awesome students from the West Side, from the HUI Mastermind, Leihuanani. Hope to have you on board.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, tell us a little bit about you, kind of what you do now, where you grew up, and kind of what background you have.
Okay. So I'm an Air Force vet, and I currently work for the Department of Navy and Human Resources, and it's one of the largest employers on this island for Harbor Naval Shipyard. So it's my 9 to 5. I also have 2 small children, so I'm the Uber driver going all over the island for whatever activities that they have. I'm also a property manager of my own properties. So outside of the real estate investing, I have 3 rentals on island, and I've got one that I'm currently selling, and I'm going to roll that into a commercial property.
Let us into a little bit of where you started, or, did you come from money?
No, definitely not from money. So I grew up in Waianae, Hawaii, on Makaha Valley Road on a mango farm. So the last road or the last stoplight before, you go down further into Makaha. And about a year ago, I've been working at my job for so long, and I was just super stressed out and just realizing that I wasn't making a lot of money on my rentals and thinking about the future and what we could do, like making $100 here, $50 on another rental. That's not going to be enough to sustain because the cost of living in Hawaii is just going to keep going up. So what can we do to retire comfortably and not also have to move off island? So I decided to look into just anything that had to do with real estate. What other options were out there? Because I know there's ways to do it. I just didn't know how. So started following other people, started following you. I started following you too.
Me first, so yeah.
So just started following people and just listening to what you guys had to say, what others had to say, books that they recommended, other people to follow. And just, I got a business, social media, just so that I could focus strictly on real estate. So I wanted to watch funny cat videos. And that I can actually focus on something that could make a difference in my life. So from there came into tax liens and deeds. So I am in a mentorship program for that.
Nice. And
trying to understand, opportunity outside of here, purchasing properties at lower prices. And the HUI Mastermind, that was actually my first step into it. I thought, here's a great opportunity. It's a local entrepreneurs that are trying to teach us how to stay. And, what can I learn from this? So I just trying to soak up all the information and try to understand all the different methods to invest. And got really confused, a little squirrely, but, here I am a year later. I've gotten 2 properties through auction and also looking at doing creative financing on a commercial property and also looking at other opportunities on island and hoping to kind of continue with the creative financing method to help locals stay in their homes.
Well, I think that's key because once you start thinking outside the box, initially people think, oh, I have to go to a bank, I have to qualify, like I don't make enough money or I don't have enough money. Once you learn strategies outside of that, then it's a real game changer to how much you can scale and how much you can grow. So I think you're a true testament to that. You can start learning things for free, follow people on social media. That's free. YouTube videos, the internet, go searching it. But I think what you've done really well is follow the guidance of other people to not only learn from their mistakes, but learn what they're doing and what's working. And so for us, I think that's key in teaching people, hey, we're not teaching things that were done in the past or don't apply anymore. We literally do this to this day in Hawaii in this market. So I'm glad to see other locals like you just being open to other ways to get to the same end. But in all honesty, you can scale so quickly just by learning some new strategies, being around people that are doing it, and just taking action in yourself, because you learned a lot, but you took a lot of action as well.
Really, I mean, we've noticed, since you joined the HUI Mastermind, it was awesome to see, stepping into like the tax liens and tax deeds. I see you at the auctions.
Yes.
What my thing is, what I like about you is you come from a side that most people, think, wow, the West Side, everybody stupid that side, or, they mean, but, you prove that, or, they broke, and you prove that, coming from that side, I think it doesn't matter where you come from. It's just actions that you take, and we're super proud of you, and we look forward to, more of the success that you've been, I guess, planting your seeds to see a room for you.
Thank you. And definitely coming from Waianae, that, there's a stereotype for sure. Anytime I say, oh, from Waianae, they're like, oh,
you get the belt now. West Side.
Definitely, there's a reputation. And I was definitely a statistic. I graduated pregnant from high school with my oldest child. So I can joke about it now, like, oh, we had 2 graduations, we had 2 problems. But, when you think about it, for anybody coming into the adult world with a child, that wasn't easy. But I was also determined to not fall into the system and truly remain a statistic. So I've always been trying to see what I can to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to not have to rely on welfare or, help outside. And, I think I just use that as a motivational push. I want to provide a life for my son and not rely on other people or the government to take care of me. So.
When I think that's where I can relate to, I got pregnant at 19 and nobody from my family actually finished college. I was out. I actually got to college, so made it one step further. But I think once I knew I had another life to take care of, it was like, man, I got to finish and I got to figure out a way. And the struggle was real, right? I rode a bicycle to school, to class, to college, and, had to drop to daycare. And so looking back on it, it was really crazy. Hard. Yeah. It was crazy to see just like how we survived. But there was a bunch of things that happened after that. However, like I still finished college. Like she gave me more of a drive to actually succeed. And like you said, I didn't want to become a statistic or follow the same path as my mom did. And it's not anything bad. It made me stronger and more resilient. However, you can just fall into an easier path if you wanted to, but we chose a harder one that, turned out to be more successful.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your journey, okay?
Absolutely. So as far as purchasing properties, my first property I bought when I was on active duty. I was in the Hawaii Air National Guard on active duty order. So I was fortunate to have the housing allowance that gave me that extra funding. I said, I don't want to rent anymore. And it was just me and my son. So I got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath NYPO for $210,000. And we lived there for a couple of years. I met my husband, we got married and decided to sell. So I sold that property for half of the down payment for the house that we live next door to now back in 2008. So I've been kind of doing the real estate investing but I've been, part of this game for a while and understanding property values and the down payment piece of it. So purchased our primary residence. We ended up moving to Germany and rented that property while we were gone. Came back, and right before we were going to move to Japan, our neighbor who had said, hey, if you ever sell your house, let us know. 2 weeks before we were moving, he saw my husband on the sidewalk and said, hey, I'm putting my house in the market. Right. So I canceled my ticket. My husband still went because he had to. And I ended up being the realtor for both of us and bought this house with a handshake deal on the sidewalk.
Nice.
So in 6 weeks, I want to say we ended up doing it in 6 weeks because I was supposed to leave in October. I ended up leaving in December. So that was crazy because I wasn't a realtor. I didn't fully understand the process, and he didn't have a realtor either. So just trying to figure that out was hard, but we made it happen. And I'm really proud of myself for getting through that. Gave me some confidence too, because I sold my townhouse for sale by owner too. So here I'm like, oh yeah, now I got 200 of bell. I should be a real estate agent. And then we came back from Germany, came back from Japan, and now we had our 2 properties, our 2 houses side by side. And we just thought, okay, what else can we do? And we're using traditional financing methods. So it's save, put down your 20%, and then realizing that that's not enough in order to get a house or property that you can rent for at market rates. So we had to save more money and just trying to understand, what other opportunities were out there. So we got involved with sweep strategies. We learned about HELOCs, and that was a game changer. Because
can you explain a little bit about what is a sweep?
Yeah.
So Sweep Strategy is a company that talks about creative financing methods. They talk about investing out of state, using your retirement income, money that you have just sitting in the bank, making no interest. HELOCs, that was a thing that really pulled us in.
That's a home equity line.
Yes, home equity line of credit. So the value of your house, certain banks will give 75 to 80% of loan to value, and you get a line of credit. So it's like a big credit card, basically, that is tied to your house. And as long as you are not deciding like, oh, let's go to Australia first class.
That's fine.
Exactly. Like, don't upgrade everybody's cars. Like, just, be smart about it and use this money to invest in something else. So we purchased our Coleman townhouse. That was a sale. We bought it from a friend, and we used a HELOC on our primary residence to pay a portion of the down payment. And we also had money in our bank account to do that. So what we did is we automatically had equity going into that purchase. Rented that out we had a 2-year lease, and then it went month to month. And in the meantime, the HUI kept rising. So every year I was like, okay, 25 more, 25 more, 25 more. And we're looking at our income and we're saying, wait, so we went from making $200 a month to $50 a month. This isn't working. What else can we do?
Right.
And in the meantime, there was also this new construction bill, the Hawaiian Pili. And we said, okay, let's invest there. So same thing. We put a HELOC on the house next door. So that's a much larger HELOC because it's a single family home. We had paid down a lot of the mortgage, and the property value had almost doubled. So we had a larger line of credit to play with. We ended up putting down almost 50% of the purchase for Nihele. And again, a large chunk of money that, if we had to save, it would have taken us longer. But we used that HELOC. We purchased the condo, and from there, we're like, great, now we can rent it. We're making $300 a month. That's great. But then because of all the insurance issues, the special assessment comes out, and for a short time frame, they're going to charge us more for the insurance. And we went from $300 a month to $15 a month.
Wow.
So again, not making a lot of money. So what else can we do? And this is where I really started diving into what other opportunities are out there. How do I get houses or properties for a lower rate? How do I get creative? And, you see all these people online and they're doing it. They're making it happen. So what are they doing? What can I do? How do I learn? And just diving in full force, joining all the seminars, joining all the webinars, going to the network meetups, And that's really
You're hungry, you're looking to definitely better the residual income that's coming in, while you sleep. That's really what real estate is all about for me, and not only, building wealth for my family, being able to get our time back too, but the thing is like getting that mailbox money, what they call it.
right.
Well, that's the first thing that I tell people when they ask, "Oh, where should I start?" I'm like, get educated. If that means, going to you setting a limit for yourself or quantity of, I need to go to, 10 meetups. I need to go to 4 conferences this year. I need to read, 15 books about real estate investing, join a coaching program or mastermind of some sort to really help guide you on the next steps to make you feel comfortable enough to do that. Because like you said, you leverage a home equity line of credit. And a lot of people are scared of debt. Absolutely. And they're scared of losing money. Absolutely. And that is a real fear to have with any investment strategy. But you could also be losing money in your retirement in the stock market. You could also be losing your money in your bank account, to inflation. So there's other ways that you can kind of get out of this kind of little rat race or out of this box that we are all taught to be in. That is definitely to help keep you safe. And the fact, like you said, that you don't go overspending on vacation, to get into all these debt because you guys are buying, fancy cars that you maybe can't afford yet. But all in all, it's just surrounding yourself by other people that are doing something different, but also learning from them. And then having the confidence in yourself to go and apply this stuff. Because, we were talking about earlier, raising money from people. And they're like, wait, so I'm going to give you a loan? Like, why don't you go to a bank? Or like, why do you need my money? And so, being able to present it as an opportunity for them, but also for them to understand that the traditional ways of, saving up and buying a rental or building wealth, that's going to take a lot longer. And you can definitely cut the learning curve and scale, in a matter of a few years, like we have, by just utilizing these creative strategies and working together, right? If they come in as a potential lender for you, then they'll be making, 10 to 12% or whatever you offer them. If they leave it in the bank, in a regular savings account, it'll be less than 1%. If they put it in a CD, right now the CDs are, between 4 to 5%, but you can offer basically double that. And I think people are scared to just implement things that they don't know. So like, wait, but why?
No, that's why, like you said, education is important so that you can learn the language of, people that's in this business who are creating wealth for their family by just, speaking that language.
Well, and it's okay to be in debt if you're using that debt to make more money or to bring in
good
cash flow.
Exactly. Good debt versus bad debt. That was a hurdle that we had to get over to get my husband on board because he's very traditional. And I too, there's still a little bit of hesitancy and trying to understand all the lingo and what the value is that you can learn from audiobooks. Like I have Audible and I'm just constantly, anytime I'm in the car, not jamming away to whatever's the latest, top 5, it's all whatever books that were recommended. If I'm at a networking event and they say, you should, read this book, I want Audible, like tagging the books and then I find that whatever space I'm in, I already have the book that can kind of help me in that area, like the creative financing piece of it. I'm listening to a book, Peace Mortgage's Wealth Without Cash, and he's talking exactly about seller financing and creative options. Exactly. And it makes so much sense. And it just helps me feel more comfortable with the deal that we're going to go into and be able to explain it to my husband, to people that are interested in lending money to me. They need to feel comfortable as well that I know what I'm talking about. And I'm, researching the deal. And I'm not just being like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's, work my side.
Right.
They gotta know, like, and trust you. Cause look at me. Share local boy, people, I had to build trust, I had to build the credibility. It wasn't easy, but, because I'm solid in anything that I do in business, people trust me, and then I could show the facts that they be like, wow, okay, this local boy doing some good things, and that's how I'm able to get funds to do my projects, passion projects, which is building homes up there on the Big Island for local families that put locals, keep them here.
Well, I think that's the thing that we like to showcase as, being Native Hawaiian, local to Hawaii, that you can do those creative strategies here.
Yeah,
like you can definitely start with zero of your own money. Fuzzy did it. He ended up partnering with people, which is totally possible. He got a loan to pay for his first mentorship, so it just depends on how badly you want it, how badly you want to change, and nobody can determine that for you but yourself. So that's another question we always get is like, where do I start? Or, where do I begin? And so I guess what advice do you have for people that are living in Hawaii, maybe working their job, maybe starting a small family and are just, living paycheck to paycheck and trying to figure out, okay, how can I start building wealth? Or what is the first step?
So education, for sure. And there's so many network events. There's so many free seminars. There's so many webinars. There's so many things that there's just abundance of information all over the place that it can't be overwhelming. And for me, I was just listening to books that didn't necessarily make sense at the time. Like I was listening to like commercial real estate 6 months ago. Made no sense to me. But now it's relevant. So, it made sense down the road. But just trying to get educated and then trying to find like, what's your niche? What do you want to do? What ignites you? And what are you comfortable with too? Like I'm an introvert, surprisingly. I'm an introvert extrovert, I'll say. Of the military spouse side, I'll say that's what kind of pulls me out because I'm put into situations where I don't know anybody, but I need to go and talk story because these are my new neighbors. These are people that I'm going to run into at these events. And just kind of putting yourself out there. So I have to get over that uncomfortable feeling of going up to somebody, introducing myself and saying, hi, I'm so-and-so. And, what do you do? And what are you interested in? But definitely understanding what areas of real estate there are and then figuring out what you want to do. Because the shiny object syndrome is so hard to stay away from. Because you start thinking like, oh, I want to be a wholesaler. Oh, wait, never mind. I want to fix and flip. Oh, wait, I want to do this. And because there's so many things, once you hear something that really piques your interest and something that you think you would be successful in, go down that path. And then you can kind of zero in. But initially, if you're just trying to figure out what do I want to do, just join the call. Anything that they're talking about, like you were talking about tax liens and deeds. Jump on the call, listen to what they have to say. If there's a fix and flip networking event, go show up, go walk the property, hear what they have to say. And if you're like, oh yeah, this is not what I want to do, no problem. But you have to show up and you have to try to understand what they're doing in order to figure out what do you want to do and what are you going to be comfortable and good at. And you can spend, and then you really have to focus because you can spend so much time going, well, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this. No, I'm going down this path. And that's where the mentorships for me came into play because you're paying for the mentorship. So you're going to invest,
you better make moves. Yeah.
Do something.
It's not going to just get handed to you.
Right. You could pay for the gym membership. If you don't show up and do the work, you're not going to get any results. So it's the same concept. You got to show up. You got to put in the work. You got to make the phone calls, drive on the properties, do the research online. And that mindset shift too on any free moment that I have. If you have time to zombie scroll on Instagram, it's time to do research on houses. If you're driving, change your route so that you drive through a particular neighborhood and you just don't go A to Z. And just really finding what ignites you, I think, is the first step. But to figure that out, you just have to just get educated.
I like that too. And a lot of people, they want to jump into things, but they don't even think about the financial position they're in, right? Like what can you actually afford, looking at your income, your expenses, where you can already start cutting back for what you don't need to spend. Not necessary, right? So rent is necessary, utilities are necessary, but there's a lot of things that you'd be surprised on. If you look at your credit card bill or you look at your bank statement that don't necessarily need to be there. So for people who are like, oh, I don't have money, that's where it kind of tell them to focus on first is focus on your financials and see where you can be saving a little bit of money here and there, especially in the beginning. Then, of course, invest that into some sort of education that will hold you accountable. Because
100%.
I think like you can join anything, you can watch any videos, but if you don't have that accountability or that community aspect to learning, self-learning, it can be very difficult to stay motivated to watch all these videos and go and implement it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, the crowd that you hang out with, right? And when I was growing up, I mean, I hung out with family members that drink, smoke, party, of course, and, surfer and stuff like that. So, of course, party life was, fun, but, where did I end up, right? So with that said, like, growing up on the West Side, like, as a, kid, how was that, in school? Like, after high school, where was military, a good option for you? Or what can you kind of, say about that? Like, cause I know I joined the military because I had to get away from it because I was getting in trouble, and then joined the military and I was like, oh God, I hate it. I mean, I cannot listen to authority, right? And, it's when I'm an entrepreneur, but, is it a good thing, or, what is the pros and cons with, the military?
So my journey into the military, so going back to high school, I barely passed. So when they say C's get degrees, like D's get degrees too. Everything that graduated. But I graduated with my side and got a job at United Airlines. So I was thinking, great, I'm on the way. I've got my 9 to 5, I've got medical, I've got dental, my son is taken care of. I think back then it was $6.50 an hour. So I thought I was really making it.
Right?
Yeah. $6.50. And I was bartending at Paradise Cove after working my 9 to 5. So 0 time with my son. And then 9/11 happened. And I remember walking into work and we had 2 big screens and just watching, the chaos of what happened in that terrorist attack. From there, my whole world shifted. We went from a call center that was only open at times to a 24-hour call center. Our benefits got cut back and there was just a lot of instability. And I had a friend who was already in the Air National Guard. She had joined right out of high school and had talked to me a couple of times about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never, as a single mom with my son, I thought, well, I can't just leave him and I can't, but I have to do something. So after seeing that United Airlines wasn't going to be my lifelong career, what else is out there? And college, my dad had, went to college. So he was an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And he encouraged me, like, you should go to college, get that paper and work on something else. So for me, focusing on joining the military for the purpose of getting college or going through college and having someone else pay for it. So I did end up graduating. I have a bachelor's from HPU.
Nice.
And I have a master's from Central Michigan University and Human Resources.
Oh, you've been working.
I did it real fast because as soon as I got enrolled, it's how fast can I get out of this? Because school is not my favorite subject, just in general, but just knowing that I joined for a purpose, I'm going to use this purpose. And I was just taking as many classes as I could, just pushing to get the degrees done before I ended up getting out because I didn't think the military was going to be a career goal for me.
Mm-hmm.
Long term. But I walked away, debt free, no loans, and a master's degree.
Nice.
Awesome.
And you got the opportunity to use a VA loan, 0% loan, right? What was that?
I actually didn't.
Not
my own VA loan,
Okay.
but we did use my husband's VA loan.
Nice.
So we used his loan. That's our primary residence now, and which is very beneficial because of the product it offers and the trying to think pre-qualification. The pre-qualified amount that you're already guaranteed as a vet. So I still have mine, but I don't know how that works.
I heard that right now they don't have limitation on like how big of a loan you can get.
Oh, interesting.
I was hearing that they have where you can buy multi-unit paying one, and rent the rest. And
And 0% down. Yeah.
So I should look for
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for all of VAs listening, definitely, I think that is the number one thing I've
Take
heard from
advantage
a
of
lot
it,
of
yes.
investors who can qualify is to utilize that loan because you can buy a home with literally like no money down. You
Yeah.
still have to qualify and all those other things or be able to afford the mortgage. So now that you have gone through, the different stages in your life and now your kids are older, I guess, how are you kind of encouraging them to get into real estate on their own?
Great question. So my oldest son, he joined the Coast Guard, and I'm super proud of him because he's now very passionate about what he does. He's really excited and he's doing great. And he got stationed here. So he's on one island for a couple of years. But talking to him about the VA loan and what opportunity he has with that's a huge opportunity. He's pre-qualified. He's got, a limit that is set, but there's huge opportunity for him to buy something while he's here, renting out when he leaves, come back. He can either move into that property or he can move into another property because using the VA loan, you have to owner occupy it. So if he's an owner occupant, but he moves away a couple of years later and does that somewhere else and numerous places all over the US and comes back, he can continue to do it. So for a kid growing up in Waianae and having this opportunity down the road, that's great. He can use this product to secure his home for his family. He's married right now. They just had my granddoggy. But down the road,
I was going to say granddaughter.
so down the road, they want to have, for him right now, he's like, I need a yard because my dog, I need a yard, which is typical. So we tried looking at properties for him to purchase. Townhouses was definitely a criteria or an option for him just because of the single family homes. And just wasn't feasible initially. So now talking about the VA loan opportunity for him to purchase a townhouse and he can afford to get something that's more for, fits his family needs versus, I'm only qualified for 325. What does that get me? Type of situation. For my two youngest, I have a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, Max and Olivia. She's going to be so happy I said her name. But for the two of them, I'm just talking about it constantly. I'm on the phone. I'm not trying to hide from them. I'm listening to the boring podcasts in the car, forcing them to just hear. And little by little, they start asking me questions. And I'm just trying to get them involved in any way I can, just to start their mind working.
Yeah.
And I don't know if college is the route that I'm going to push them in, because it is a good option if you have a focus, if you have something that you really want to do. Like my second son, he's really into media. So maybe if he wants to go into that field, then yes, definitely go to college and get that experience and education.
Yeah. For me, my daughter just graduated from high school and she hated school. So I did not in no way, shape, or form even, I asked her if she wanted to go to college, but I said, I'm an entrepreneur now. I did use my degree and very thankful for the 10 years that I was a civil engineer, but I totally get it if it's not, I just knew no other way and I wasn't confident enough and I wanted more stability and direction, right? As an entrepreneur, you got to be self-motivated. 100%. And so, for her, my whole goal is just to help her figure out what she's passionate about, but also to get her out into the world. So just recently she made the decision she wants to go to Vegas and she wants to be a realtor. And, this whole time I've been talking to her, I'm not a realtor myself, but she knows that she needs more of a pathway than trying to forage on her own or get right into real estate investing, because she has seen that even, at the beginning, it is a little bit of, you got to figure out the path.
Yeah.
And so
it's not an easy path.
Right. But with the education and everything else. So being 18, I wouldn't even have really thought about much, other than, we both got pregnant at that time. So we had to grow up real quick. But,
Yes.
right. But I think for her, she has a lot of options. And that's the whole reason why we do this, is to give our children more options for them to do something they're passionate about, but also to set themselves up for wealth in the future and make an impact. So for her, I'm praying that she is going to find her path shortly. But at the same time, I'm just glad that she does have the option she does. And she can always come home. But, Vegas is a nice island. So
100%. So you'll share. You'll see
right.
it.
I know. I'll gladly come and visit.
Yes.
How can me and Zasha, as your coaches from HUI Mastermind, is there anything, that we can help you with at this time of your journey that you can think of?
So fortunately, there's now the HUI Mastermind Academy, and that's something that you can really tap into a number of different resources. So just through the HUI Mastermind group, there's a number of things that were provided just initially that can be used. There's, templates that you can use. There's scripts. There's just a lot of information to kind of get you started. And I think going to all the trainings and just soaking up all the information, and also being prepared with questions, because any type of situation you run into, I've now used this platform to reach out and say, here's an opportunity that I see, what kind of seller financing options can I use to have the conversation with the seller? Or what else do you think I could do to try to close this deal? So I think just tapping into your expertise and having that access through the mentorship is going to be the most beneficial.
Yeah.
So right now, where are you at in your investing journey, and what do you necessarily need help with? Because I know in the car we're kind of talking about funding, which is everyone's
What is issue, right?
That's
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is private money lending or OPM, other people's money. And as I'm growing in the commercial space, I see a big opportunity to make a lot more cash flow. And what that's going to do for me is be able to come back and invest in Hawaii as I have been, because I need that large, either the creative financing option here on island that I need to seek out, or having that large down payment so I can, or cash purchase, to be able to just purchase the home and then be the bank, be that option for someone who's trying to and has not been able to qualify for a loan or hasn't had an offer accepted. I can be their solution. So trying to raise private money so that I can purchase the commercial properties that have tenants in place, that have longevity, long leases, and a large cash flow will allow me to work on things that I really want to do back home.
Yes.
So as far as raising the money, how is it going so far?
The conversation is very, and I'm not a math expert, so I think showing the numbers and just trying to keep them very basic and simple is important. But I think a lot of people don't know that I've been in this, in this world for a long time, and I have to put myself out there more. And when I tell them, like, oh, I have 3 rentals, they're like, I didn't know that. I thought you just had your own house. I had no clue. So just educating more and using social media. I'm trying to be more active on the social media side. I know I need to, it's not bragging to tell my internal self, I'm not bragging. I'm letting people know that I've used different types of strategies like HELOCs to purchase 2 properties.
Right.
And I've gone into the tax liens and deeds, and I've gone to auctions, and I won a house, in Florida for $46,000. It's, 1/4 of the value of the house. Mm-hmm. So I've researched, I've analyzed, and I'm using these different strategies to get myself further along. But as I'm having the conversation with potential lenders, family and friends, a lot of them don't know what I've been doing. Right. So my next step is put it out there. Put it out there and let people know. Because I'll even talk to like Lee's, right? I saw him at Never Gamut this weekend. Said, looking at your page, I had no clue. I'm like, you're right. Yeah. She felt like I was bragging, like, look at all these houses I have. Yeah. But the reality is, I am a skilled real estate investor, and I have knowledge, I have resources, I have the potential And I just need to build that confidence in them so they will feel comfortable lending to me. We have a couple that are ready, and I'm excited about what that's going to do for the future.
Well, so what has really helped is having some sort of packet together. So if you can put together like private money lending packet, something that does showcase maybe your current portfolio or ones that you're looking at potentially. And like you said, showcasing the numbers, that I really think that having something a little bit more formal would be then easier. You just send them the email and let them know like, hey, this is what private lending is. This is what it entails. These are what people use in order to lend their money and why they do it. I think will help get a better understanding, because of course it takes your relationship. But I think once you get something put together more formal, they're like, oh, okay, this is legit, or okay, now I understand. They can take the time to go through the packet or read up on, ways that it works and how they're protected.
What I tend to do is anytime I meet with anybody and they ask me, what you do? I'm like, hey, I'm a real estate developer, and I help people, put local families in homes, and, that's my passion. But I also, help people get double-digit returns on their money. And would you be interested in learning? Then that's kind of like how I, get my conversation. But also I'm still that I'm seeing, your social media page, you're posting a lot of, carousels. So keep that up, because I know when I met this one, she was telling me just record and post it. Right? Just record and post. Post your journey, because people will like, that like you, they'll follow you. And then, lo and behold, like I had so many people reach out to me. I've got some money, we'd like to invest with you and Zasha or you in your project. So keep doing the social media thing, because that's definitely a help.
And you'd be surprised on how many people do actually have money or realize, oh yeah, I have my retirement. I could leverage that. Okay, how is it doing right now? Or, oh yeah, I usually put money in the stock market, but this is another way that I can start investing, and it's secured by a property. And so a lot of people, and like we mentioned, when you say, hey, look at your savings account. How secure is your money and how much is it making right now? It's not making anything. And for my mom, I started raising money from other investors, and it's because they seen my progress. And I kept sharing on social media just what I was doing, the action I was taking, even though in the beginning I didn't have that much experience. They just seen how hard I was working. And when I found really good deals and I presented it to them, they already knew what to look for. And I'm like, man, I hope you don't pay me back. Then I could get this property from you. And they didn't mind lending. This is the thing, is that you can't really look at other investors as competition. Of course, you may be looking in the same areas and maybe bidding against each other on some properties. But at the end of the day, if you're a savvy investor, you are going to want to diversify. So I like, even for you, there's private lending aspect, there's fix and flip, there's rentals, there's commercial fees. And then even more recently, you got into syndication. You invested into our fund. And so a lot of people don't even know that once you get to a certain level, you can be considered an accredited investor, where if you have $1 million net worth, or you make $200,000 on your own or $300,000 with a spouse, you can then start just investing your capital, get equity and cash flow in these bigger projects. A lot of people don't know that that is another strategy that you can get into if you want to stay at your job. If you just want another revenue stream and start investing and have other people actually look for the deals, fund the deals, manage the project and things like that. Private lending and passive investing into commercial projects are also some options.
And it's great to get that notification and you look at the statement, it's like, well, wow, I made $5,000 by doing nothing. Right? So just waking up and going to work and being diversified is definitely important, because you have so many avenues that you're going down and so many paths, and just knowing that, okay, I'm setting myself up. I still have like my thrift savings plan through my 9-to-5 minimum, because they match that, but that's money, into my pocket, into my retirement, by multiple streams. So Rise Capital, my TSP, and then the money that I'm getting from my rentals.
Yeah, you just never know, right? You might have a family member that's been watching you for so long, like my uncle. I'm ready to go. I have a 401k. How do we start it? So I told him, hey, there's this company called Horizon in Vegas. All you do is take, whatever I think you added in Fidelity or some, 401k, and then we transferred it over. It was pretty quick. And then now he's doing a brand new build with me on the Big Island. So it took a while for, him to trust, but, if you keep posting and they see what you've been doing, they'll come out of the woodwork.
And I'm really proud of my family too. My mom, it took her 4 years to finally know, there's something to this investing. And I'm like, yeah, I got 17 houses on Maui. Like, let's go. Like, we could do it. So, and she comes from a good place. And, like back in the day, there was a lot of scams going on and people taking advantage of other people. Or she went through foreclosure. And so as far as like financially, that's why people are scared. And we talk to people all the time, that are in some sort of distress, and that's why they're losing their property. But at the same time, you can come out, on top if you do work with real estate investors who have other options for you rather than to just get foreclosed on and lose all your money. And so I think that's what we want to reiterate, that we provide a solution for people. And we're definitely, not taking advantage of people. And once people know what investing is or how we do it, then they feel more confident in us ourselves. And for my mom, she doesn't want to be a real estate investor per se that's active. She wants to invest money. So just recently this year, she invested into a laundromat, and then she invested into a venture capital deal. So I'm really proud that she's kind of stepping outside of her box. And a lot of times she'll hop on webinars. She has no idea. She's like, man, what does this acronym mean? Like, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'm here and like, Mom, you showed up. And that's more than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was a big help. We did a workshop. Your mom was there, so it looked like she was all into it. So super stoked to see that. But our students, right? You're one of our students. Like, lean on us as coaches. Use us as
I do.
I know.
As their credibility. Because when I first started, the coaches or the mentorship that I was part of, they was I use their credibility. So I'm part of their team, part of this huge network of people that are investing in real estate. So that's what usually I tell people. So anybody you want to highlight or talk about before we carry on down?
So just anybody that I met, my mentors, definitely to Sasha and to Fuzzy, for always being open to talk story and give me advice. I still remember winning that 30-minute session with the being and all the answers. And I've gone to, the events previously. So I'm like, I know the answer to this. But just being able to have that open communication and to network with people and, talk to them about their specialty, find out, just ask them, what do you enjoy most? Or, what inspires you about fix and flips, and you'll be surprised. They'll just start talking. They're so passionate about it, and you're just learning. This is great information from someone who does this on a daily basis. So, just thank you for everyone who's just so open with their information, who wants to just share, share. They want to see you be successful. They, don't hesitate to kind of tell you, like, why'd you do that? I would have done this, or did you consider doing it this way? And they're not, looking down on you, but they're just questioning you. And sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And so just don't get upset. Don't get offended. Just take it and be like, okay, look at it from their perspective. This is what they do. They're the experts in their field, and they're giving you this information for free. So what can you take from that? And what can you learn from that?
Right. So you were going to talk about your special person in your life. You wanted to talk about your mother, yeah?
Oh, my mom, yeah. So I'll try to do this without getting emotional. But my dad passed away last year, and he left her a sizable amount in her IRA. And because he had constantly contributed in the IRA, it's very traditional, and put money in the IRA, put money in the savings account. So she's set up. And she's got money, and she has a goal. She said, one day when I move into my, fully, full care retirement home, because I don't want you guys taking care of me. I can take care of myself. I want to be able to pay for it. And my mom, she's super strong, Japanese. Like, she stopped walking around, like pushing a wheelbarrow, picking mangoes. And I'm like, oh my God, take a break. But she just, she's going to live for a long time. So what are those rates going to look like down the road? And she's, trusting in the stock market to build her portfolio. And she's looking at her statements and she's going, wow, I just lost $9,000. And she wanted to go into precious metals and said she wanted to purchase silver bars. So I kind of went down the path with her. I said, what about investing in real estate? And trusting your daughter to help you do that. So she's now going to be investing. I got her to roll over her traditional IRA to a solid 401k, and she can either purchase real estate through that, or she can loan to me as an unsecured loan in order to get that guaranteed 10 to 12% interest. Guaranteed. So that's one method that she's looking at. And she was also talking about CDs, but she's trying to diversify herself. And she went and she got 2 CDs, and she's super excited, 5% for 6 months. And they're already asking me like, oh, do you want to reinvest? But we're only going to give you 3%. Trust in. So, and I'm really excited because I want to be able to help her take what my dad left for her to survive on, and just to continue to increase it, because she's living on Social Security and just what comes in from, that. And I want to make sure that the family property, the farm, the mango farm, it's not going to ever be a concern. She won't have to feel like she has to sell it in order to move into her, her posh nursing home. And like, this is an opportunity for me to help, one person that I really, really care and love to stay exactly where she is and to help her follow her dreams in the end. So
when in the end, and not really, just about the money for a lot of us, it's about providing those opportunities and those a better way of life, or not having to financially worry about things that could happen to our family members or our kids, and being prepared for that, because now you need multiple streams of income just to get by. And, that's exactly why we are so passionate about teaching other people, like, hey, there's other ways. So for those who are considering, joining the HUI Mastermind Academy and community, and just like, kind of debating or struggling within themselves, what advice would you give them?
You have to just start. And by starting, I mean, join a webinar, listen to the podcast, go on YouTube, and it's all going to be foreign language. You're not going to understand everything. Nothing's going to make sense, but take notes, just write down, when they say OPM, write it down. What does OPM mean? When they talk cash flow, what does that mean? Net operating income, what does that mean? And just to get started and try to learn as much as you can, try to find what you're passionate about, find that niche, and then focus. But you've got to start. You got to take the first step. And it's one thing to kind of sit in the back of the room and just take all the information, and you're like, well, that's great. And then go back to what you're doing, zombie scrolling on social media. No, start looking at who they follow and what are they talking about and what are they recommending and what books. And again, just spending all your free time learning and focusing on that. And as you manifest, will come.
Right. I think you're ready to take action. That's the moment when you join a program or you join something to get to that next level. Because, you've already, for me, I was ready to quit my job. I was like, hell no, I'm doing this for another 20 years. Like, I already am giving my life away, leaving away 60 to 70 hour weeks. I need to find some other solution. And so that's what drove me to get into real estate and go all in. And not everybody has to follow the same path, but you also have to make the decision in yourself to be different. I like the quote that says, you don't get better by chance, you get better by change.
Right.
So you got to choose.
Yeah. Choices you make, right? Yeah. You to stay where you're at, or
you
do
show
something
up,
about it. Right?
show up and do something, and you may fail. I've got a lot of rejection. I've got a lot of failures, gone to auctions, And like the one that we were at on Big Island, the two that I was looking for, you know, they just started
everybody
going.
wanted it.
I wasn't the only one. But you know, you got to try. If you don't show up, you don't know. And if you don't start, the answer's already no.
Right.
If you don't show up, the answer's already no. Nothing's going to change until you get started. And that's a first step. Just commit. Do you have that 1 hour when you're sitting in the car doing something else, taking a nap or whatever? You've got the time, but you just have to be, you know, focused and intentional with your time.
Right. And
what do you want to do? You can sit around and say, oh, I want to be a millionaire or want to buy my first house. Go do it. And you're not just going to go win the lottery. That's a great strategy. And if it works out for you, you know, call me. I got some investments, you know, for you. But if not, you know, you got to do it on your own. And we're so fortunate to have groups like the HUI Mastermind that are so open and willing and able to help us and educate us. And even on the side, you know, just even after the program is over and the training is over, it's still good to know that I can text you guys and ask a question and, you know, get the support that I need. Just that little shove. Because sometimes, here's a problem, what would you do? And it's like,
yeah.
Have you thought about, oh, okay.
Going through emotions.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, giving us insight, inspiring other, you know, local people from the West.
In the West.
Yeah.
Throw that out.
Right. You know, other local people. And that's exactly why we do this podcast and show, is to showcase people like you that, you know, came from very humble beginnings like us, that just had a passion and drive to make it and didn't let anything stop you. And now you chose real estate as one of your main focuses to build wealth. And here you are, just
one step at a time.
Going.
My life is a complete opposite direction from last year. You talked to me 1 year ago, and I was not making money on my rental properties, and now I just have, you know, the future is bright, and there's so many opportunities out there. I can't wait to see what happens next year. Maybe in a couple of years, I'll be the multi-millionaire.
And it can happen quickly for those who are taking action. So that's why we do what we do, and we want to inspire other people. So if people want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, LGREI808, and that's my business. Social media, I haven't spread out yet to the other locations, but that's the main social media that I'm focused on.
It's right on. So if you want to take action, just like Leihua did, and learn about real estate, check us out at HUIMastermind.com. And if you like this, you know, podcast, press the like button, share it, and also subscribe. So, mahalo for watching, and we see you guys on the next one. Ciao, please.
Yes.